Again, 3 rounds this scheduled in the lightweight division and brought to you by Harley-Davidson San Diego. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. He's a freestyle fighter standing 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing in officially 156.5 pounds. In 2 professional fights, he is perfect with 2 victories and no defeats. Fighting out of San Diego by way of Kihei, Hawaii, here is the undefeated Josh Nakagawa! And across the cage, fighting out of the red corner, his opponent. This mixed martial artist stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in 155.25 pounds. In 3 professional fights, his record, 2 victories and 1 defeat. He fights out of and represents San Diego, California. Here is Jamie Lynch! And your referee in charge of the action, Blake Grimes.
Your referee for this bout is Mr. Blake Grice. Josh Nakagawa in the white trunks, taking on Jamie Lynch in the black trunks. Lynch to the center of the cage first. I think it's fair to say the more experienced of the fighters actually made his pro debut in, get this, 2013. Had an amateur career between 2011 and 2013, but hasn't fought since 2016.
That was the one thing I was kind of curious what he was going to do when he gets out there. Is he going to, excited, jump out there and kind of just go up? But I like that he's being slow, calculating, kind of, stalking him, walking down, seeing what he's going to do. Since 2016, I'm curious to see his game plan.
Yeah, it's a lot of time away from active competition, but he's, as you said, Jen, stalking in the center of the cage at the moment. It's very little.
It's almost like he's savoring the moment, right? He doesn't want to rush in there and maybe let it happen too soon, whatever the outcome may be. But I like how he's cutting off the corner, or he's circling on the outside. Again, we're seeing him throw a little leg kick when he circles to the right, and then a little hook or something when he circles to the left. So he's just trying to cut off the cage and get him up against the fence so he can start throwing some stuff.
Bit of a tentative start from both guys here, though, in this feeling out process. You can see Nakagawa, he's firing those shots, but he's never really in range to actually land them at the moment. Saying to work on the outside. Again, just trying to get a sense of each other's timing. Spinning back kick goes awry from Mr. Lynch.
That feeling out process where they're just trying to find that range, they're just outside of each other's range a little bit. Nobody wants to be the first to kind of step in, bite down. You can tell he threw a couple of hands trying to get that clinch.
That was a nice shot on the break from Jamie Lynch. Little cheeky right hook as the takedown was shucked off by Nakagawa.
I think he's kind of let his game plan go, and the idea of not mixing up with the striking, and let's take him down as fast as we can. Lynch, it looks like he's probably wanting to pinch something, take him down. The way that Nakagawa's moving around, he's adverse in boxing and Muay Thai, so I could see wanting to take this down and get that lactic acid in there, slow him down in the first round.
Yeah, but it's interesting, you can hear the corner of Nakagawa asking for changing levels and getting that shot in. And there is a shot from Lynch. It's very nice and low around the hips, picks up the single and body lock here against the cage.
Good job by Josh to get that underhook and peel him up. So now they're standing upright, get him up off the hip.
Looks like Lynch is going for some trips against the cage, though. The way that Nakagawa's feet aren't pressed up against the fence, he can sneak that leg in and just peel him off of there and land on top. Good job of second.
Yeah, good knee on the break from Lynch as well. He's looking to press forward again from the center of the cage. Nakagawa goes to dig to the body, but it's a single shot.
See, now I wonder if that's the one thing. And all that did with that takedown, now it's kind of freezing up Josh's hands, freezing up his feet. And he doesn't know what he's looking for. He wants to make sure he's seeing everything. And like what happens, you forget about your game plan because you're so busy reacting to what they're doing. And that's kind of what Jamie was able to do by getting that takedown. Now Josh seems to be more hesitant, and he's just kind of sitting back like, okay, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Nice catch of the kick.
Yeah, nice front kick snapped out there. Manages to turn it into a beautiful takedown. He both legs, but Nakagawa pops right back up here. Good aggression from Jamie Lynch.
And I do wonder what Jamie Lynch's game plan is, because he isn't doing anything, even though he's stalking. And I kind of want him to let his hands go. That's how he's going to set up his takedowns, because it looks like that's what he wants. He wants to push him up against the fence or get a nice shot, but he has to set it up with his hands first. Otherwise, Josh is going to see it coming, sprawl, or just be ready for it and be able to pop right back up.
Yeah, and it's not as though he hasn't had a couple of good attempts so far. He's got in on the hips both times, tries to jumping round kick again in on the singles defense, and immediately splits away.
And I mean, falling after kicking is actually working for him, because he baits Josh into coming in.
Closing the distance.
And then he pops up and gets deep in on a shot.
That's a good little double kick.
I like that he's getting warmed up. He's starting to throw. Jamie's starting to throw some more kicks.
Right, and as we go into the final 10 seconds of this round, you can't really argue that the output has been nearly entirely Jamie Lynch.
Yep, he's controlling it. I think that'll be one of the things that Josh gets back in the corner, kind of figure out what is your game plan, what is it you're doing. You can only watch the fight so much. You've got to go out there and you've got to dictate your pace. You've got to do your thing at some point.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the corner of Nakagawa say to him. For my money, he's down in this first round.
Yeah, the output was more on Jamie's side, and then the pressure too, the cage control.
Take a look at some of the work from Jamie Lynch. This was actually off a takedown attempt, ended up with a knee, and then that short hook. Threw some good high kicks in there as well. Turned the hip over nicely, but couldn't quite cover enough distance.
But I like how he came right back with that side kick to push him against the fence.
Yeah, again, and this was actually, he popped straight into a single leg from this.
Really good balance, he fell over, but was able to turn around and run right into a single. I thought he was going to dump it, but he was able to drive it all the way across into the cage.
Yeah, I love the collection of the leg there. Not able to put it to use, unfortunately. But we're going to go into a second round here.
Let's see if Josh is loosening up a little bit.
So, Jens, what would you have said to Nakagawa if you were cornering him tonight?
I mean, you got to stop watching what he's doing and start focusing on your game plan. What is your game plan? Let's get out there, get comfortable. Use those hands, set up those kicks, circle, start feinting, and open him up. So you can't just throw one thing at a time. Where are those feints? Where are those movements, little jerky movements, and get him to bite a little bit? Because right now you're looking at Jamie Lynch has got confidence. The ball is over the gill and it's starting to roll down the other side. It's going to get tough to derail him.
And it does seem like Jamie Lynch just has a slightly better management of the range here. You know, he's landing with a bit more force, a bit more flush with his strikes. Nakagawa has just gone a little too far on the outside there. It's a good shot, but not able to do anything with it.
Well, those shots, they freak you out too. If you don't want to get taken down, if you don't want to be on bottom for a whole round, you're going to slow down a bit if you're not used to that, if you're still trying to get your game plan going. Once the first person starts shooting, and I think that might be why Josh's corner is calling for the level change, just so he can meet him at the shot. He's not always waiting to defend. He's actually putting out his own offense with the wrestling and making it less scary for him to go forward.
Yeah, MMA is an offense-based sport after all, so you've got to be making an effort to try and finish the fight.
It's a good job of freezing up your hands. Every time you try to pop off some offense, he changes levels and shoots. Now you're like, oh, I got to make sure my hands are at home so that I can defend these.
Yeah, Jamie Lynch at the moment has been able to do most of his defense just with kind of staying a little bit on the outside in terms of range. He hasn't had to do too much bobbing and weaving. You see, he's actually quite static in terms of head movement, but that's because he hasn't really had to worry yet. It's better from Nakagawa now, looking to kick up to the open side.
And even just a couple straight punches, a 1-2.
Lovely work from Lynch. Again, he does a good job of threatening the takedown and then dictating, you know, who's going to time that break and getting those short inside shots in.
I love how he threw that hook, and when you throw that hook, you know you're close enough to level change because you're right in it for a shot. You're curling there and close, and boom, was able to change the level. Realized it wasn't there, popped back up and threw 2 punches, and then almost went down again. I love that upstairs, downstairs changing.
Yeah, very nice sequences from Lynch. Again, thinks about that side kick.
He's dialed on the range right now. If you notice, he's staying just outside that kick. He's able to see that range and jump in and explode and throw those shots.
And that, you know, it's nice to see shots from Nakagawa, but they're labored shots. They're slow shots for what he needs to put together.
And it's almost like he doesn't expect to hit. He needs to throw fast. He needs to throw hard. He needs to try to punch the air as hard as he would try to punch his opponent.
There needs to be some violence of action. Right, I think is what you're saying. He needs to actually really try and make sure these are going to do some damage. You know, it's not a sparring match, it's a fight.
And a lot of times you get people who, if they haven't landed something big yet, they don't try to land something big. They'll expect to miss, and then they'll keep throwing short. They'll keep not really moving in and committing to their punches. And commitment is the main thing. That's how you start scoring. And Lynch is doing a great job of committing every time he decides to flurry and come in.
So body lock here up against the cage. Again, Lynch had a really good bite of the hips, but opts to come back to a standing clinch. Minute 20 left in this second round. Josh Palmer, Jens Pulver, Angela Hill here, cage side with you for tonight's festivities. Of course, main card coming up very shortly at 8 p.m. Pacific here on UFC Fight Pass. 5 bouts to look forward to this evening.
Josh did a good job of using his back foot to just push off the cage and get some space so he could circle out. But I really wish he would attack once he dictates those breaks in the clinch.
Good check on the kick from Nakagawa. Slow shot from Lynch, easily stopped. But again, it's the short shots when he chooses to stop the takedown.
It's the subtleness of the way that he's doing it. He gets the shot, and when he stands up, he just pops him one time in the head. And I think he's just doing a good job. Like, right now, you look at Josh, he's really labored. He doesn't want to throw anything. He's worried about getting too close, because the minute that he does, right then, boom, Jamie shoots in for that takedown, and he wants it. I don't know what he's so worried about on the ground.
That wheel kick, not hitting the mark, but it had a lot of whip to it, that's for sure. And that's a beautiful follow-up. Bit of send-no-send karate from...
Hey, he's dialed in. He's dialed in.
From Jamie Lynch there, dictated the closing of range. And that's another excellent round, it has to be said, for Jamie Lynch. Angela, Jens, I don't think either of you are going to disagree that he probably took the second round there.
Now Lynch he's pitching a shutout. He's just ahead on the score count. He's hitting Josh while he's just staring at him. I feel like Josh is really having a mental block right here where I don't know, maybe he felt something, maybe he felt Lynch's strength in the first round and just hasn't decided to present his own offense yet.
And Jens, these hooks on the exit, you know, you and I, we're getting very excited about them because you don't see them all that often, but they're just so perfectly timed.
Yeah, he just flips them out. And the one thing I've noticed, if you watch, he's keeping his eyes open. He's in control. He's in control of this fight, and he's watching everything. I don't think Jamie has closed his eyes one time, watching his counters, enjoying the range, going in there, and again, changing that level and smacking him for standing up.
I mean, as we said, you know, Jamie Lynch pro debut, 8 years ago?
Or that is just absolute insanity.
Yeah. Which, you know, we're seeing that fight IQ and that you know, generalship come through now. We move into the third round here.
And if you see how his eyes are always open, you can see he's just dialed in, and he's seeing everything. And it's Josh's too much hesitation, second-guessing himself, not sure if he wants to get in what he wants to do, but you just look at those eyes, and that's one thing I like seeing. For someone who hasn't fought him as long as he has, now that momentum, that ball is over the hill, and it's going down the other side, and it's steamrolling, and it's going to be, right now, Josh is going to have to do something incredible, blast him with something to get him to start second-guessing. If you watch it, you just see the confidence, the eyes open, and he's starting to set things up.
Yeah, Jamie Lynch showing it's very much like riding a bike when you're in the zone here, just right back into the groove in this one. And Angela, you mentioned before, you know, Nakagawa not looking like he's expecting to land. He needs a tempo change.
He does. He needs to come forward. He needs to just throw everything. And here he goes. He's a great boxer. But that's
Beautiful shot.
pretty much why he's been holding it back the entire fight. I think he was aware of that, the possibility of that well-timed shot, and Lynch finally got it.
Yeah, well, that's one of the cleanest straight power doubles you're going to see. Just straight line through the middle, wrapping up the hips, and he ends in top position here inside the closed guard. Getting the head involved there. You don't traditionally see people be this top heavy with their head lower than their hips. It's not where you would expect to usually be. And his hands are on the mat, you know, not getting inside control of the bicep. But working for him because Nakagawa's got nothing going back.
Well, he's a little tired, and I think Lynch is trying to get him to that fence where he can really pin him there, get his head right up against the fence, and just rain down punches on him.
He's making it a little bit rough now, isn't he? A little bit unpleasant in this scrap.
Well, 100%. I would have said, had I known where his corner was, I like the idea of he's cutting off the supply line, taking Josh away from his corner and bringing him over to Jamie's corner, where then they can just have a conversation. Now you've got two sets of eyes helping you dial in and how to beat him up. But like you said, I'd like to see him posture up, especially while the guard is closed. Posture up, throw some shots, let go of that waist. It just seems like he just wants to drive into him, but he's not doing much with it.
Yeah, he's driving that head forward, but you know, as we said, head lower than the hips is not traditionally where you would expect to keep your posture in this position. But you know, Nakagawa definitely wearing some fatigue here as he looks to start to climb the guard a little bit higher.
But there's not much he can do when the guard's closed. He's got to have to let those feet, get his feet in, swim them in.
Yeah, he's got to pummel from inside position. He's got to you know, look to get the hips out, create some angles. Here he's trying to deflect the shoulder. You'd be much better deflecting the crown of the head. Try and put a bend in the spine, move away. There's a lot of things he can be doing here that we're just not seeing, and I think the fatigue is starting to get to him now.
And Jamie's content to stay here. He doesn't need to pass. He's up 2 rounds. He's just going to pepper him until Josh gives him something a little more to work with.
Well, there's some good posture. Let's see if he can drive those hips forward, land some more devastating ground and pound. Nice short elbow there. Good kick off on the hips, and that's a beautifully timed head kick.
Nice.
And that has cut.
Nice little cut from that elbow.
Yeah. Some very visible damage now on the face of Josh Nakagawa. He's only got 1 minute and 25 seconds to turn this one around. But Jamie Lynch in full command and control here.
And if I'm Josh, I'm going for throw. You know you're down.
I mean, you have to. There's not really another option for him at this point.
Yeah, and why waste a good fight camp? Like, just go out there, go out on your shield, and see what happens.
It's worth pointing out that Nakagawa did actually miss weight for this bout, and he was not allowed by the doctor to continue trying to cut the weight. So he actually weighed in at 156.5 for this 155-pound bout.
And that actually makes a lot of sense because you can see the fatigue from the first round. You can see that Josh wasn't really competing in the same manner as Lynch. Like, he wasn't as fast, he wasn't as springy. And a bad weight cut can do that. It can take like a lot of pep out of your step, especially once you lock up with that other opponent who's had a good weight cut.
Nakagawa starting to push forward now, but perhaps a little bit too little too late. Is he holding his hand up?
Yeah, it looks like maybe he hurt his hand with one of those punches.
Switching stance now. Final 10 seconds in our third and final fight here on this preliminary card. Nakagawa taunting Lynch, but it's going to come to no avail. Jamie Lynch, I think, is fairly decisively going to take the decision win here. He knows he's done enough. His corner certainly knows he's done enough as we take a quick look there at the cut on the eye of Nakagawa. Let's take a look at some of the replays from that round. Some good work from Jamie Lynch here. Good couple of hooks, and then the shot for the big takedown.
Right when Josh got confident enough to step in, Jamie was there to boom, change, and take him down and just derailed it. Just broke his confidence. Every time he tried to step in, Jamie did a good job. Light punches, boom, change.
And this was that cutting elbow. Look at that glancing blow right with the point of the elbow, and you immediately see the blood start to trickle from the corner of the eye of Nakagawa.
Like a blood tear.
Yeah, there he was able to kick off, and he was very lucky to avoid a pretty significant bit of impact.
Yeah, we saw a knockout last night. Cheyenne Bai, she knocked her opponent out with that same exact move, only Josh was a little faster with the hands.
For a kid who hasn't fought since 2016, I loved it. I mean, he looked calm, composed. Jamie looked really good. I don't know what he's been doing, but he's been doing something right.
He's been training with killers over at Gamebred.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead, throw this one to Joe Martinez, who's going to make this decision official.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards, and all 3 judges see it 30-27 for your winner by unanimous decision from San Diego, Jamie Lynch!
Jamie Lynch, your winner by unanimous decision with a very cool, calm, and collected performance, and I guess putting that time away from the gym into good use.
It did. That's the one thing I like to see is when you've been out there and you're putting in the work and you come back. And I just liked how calm he was the entire time. Just really calm, focused, eyes open, and employing his game plan. It was awesome.
I'm pretty sure he's a nurse in his real life, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure. I've seen him come into the gym with scrubs on before.
Oh, no.
So I think that could be the answer to his calm and collected demeanor in there. He's like, hey, I've been in much crazier situations, have to stay calm, have to keep the adrenaline down and focus on the task at hand.
Well, taking them apart and putting them back together is Jamie.